My name is Marin Hale, and I'm 32 years old. One night, my parents sent me a text that broke something inside me I didn't know could break. My phone lit up with their words. "We no longer trust you. Don't come to the office tomorrow." I stared at the screen. My heart was beating fast, my hands shaking, as I typed one word back. Understood. That word carried so much pain, anger, and sadness I could barely handle it. For many years, I had worked really hard to help my family's software company in Salt Lake City. I gave my heart to it, trying to make it strong and successful. But that night, everything I thought I knew about my family, love, and trust fell apart. It wasn't just a message. It was like they drew a line in the sand. They were saying I was no longer one of them. I didn't understand. What had I done? I had found something important. Something hidden in the company's numbers that could ruin the empire we built. But instead of thanking me, my family turned their backs. They chose to hide the truth. Even though my heart was heavy with their words, I didn't want to give up. Something bigger was coming, something I couldn't see yet. A reckoning. Stick with me to find out what broke my family apart, the secrets I found, and why that one word, understood, changed everything. Have you ever had a moment when your family got mad at you for doing the right thing? Share your story in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe to see what happens next. Back in Salt Lake City in the 1990s, tech dreams were everywhere. My family built a small software empire. Growing up, I watched my parents pour their hearts into Hale, a software company that started in our garage. They were smart and creative, turning computer code into a business that helped people. By the time I was in high school, Hale was well known for making enterprise resource planning software, which helped small businesses run better. We were making about $30 million a year. It was our family's legacy, and I was proud to be part of it. I'm Marin Hale, and by my late 20s, I became the chief financial officer. That meant I was in charge of all the money, making sure we stayed strong and grew. My older sister, Sloane, ran marketing. She was charming and could land big clients, but I later learned she also wanted more control. My younger sister, Isla, handled human resources, trying to keep peace between us. Mom and Dad, the founders, didn't work in the office every day anymore, but they still made the big decisions. They trusted us to run the company. But that trust had cracks I didn't notice until later. As kids, we were close. Summers were for hiking in the Wasatch Mountains, and winters were for board games. But as adults, working together changed things. Sloane was always the favorite. Her flashy presentations made Dad proud. I focused on the numbers and caught mistakes that saved us millions. But my wins were quieter and few people noticed. Isla tried to stay neutral, but I could tell she liked Sloane's charm more. That hurt, but I brushed it off. I loved my family, and Hale Tech was our bond. The first sign of trouble came 2 years ago in a board meeting. I suggested cutting costs on a risky expansion Sloane wanted. She looked at me like I'd betrayed her. Dad agreed with her, saying her idea was bold. I swallowed my frustration but started to doubt things. Sloane began sidelining me and taking credit for my ideas. Whispers went around. Clients thought she was the genius behind our profits. I ignored it, thinking loyalty was more important than pride. Isla noticed the tension but stayed neutral. She'd whisper to me, "Marin, don't rock the boat. Let Sloane shine." I nodded, but it felt like a warning. Mom and Dad didn't see what was happening. They were too busy praising Sloane. At family dinners, Sloane talked about new campaigns while I quietly worked on the numbers. Once I saw her change my budget reports before showing them to Dad and Mom. When I asked her about it privately, she laughed and said, "We're a team, right?" But her eyes didn't smile. The real problem came when Hale got a big client, a chain of retail stores that needed our software. Sloane led the project, making big promises. I warned that the costs might be more than the contract would pay. She ignored me. Dad agreed with her. Isla stayed quiet, her eyes moving between us. That deal increased our revenue, but it also strained our resources. I started noticing strange things in the financial records. Small mistakes, nothing big, but enough to make me nervous. Looking back, that was the first crack in our family's foundation. Sloane's ambition wasn't just hard work. It was something darker. I didn't want to believe she would do anything wrong, but the numbers didn't lie. One late night, I found a transaction that didn't make sense. As CFO, I spent many nights checking spreadsheets, making sure every dollar was correct. That night, in a quarterly report, I saw a payment of $50,000 to a company called Pacific Horizon. It wasn't in the budget, and I hadn't approved it. My stomach twisted. Something was wrong. I checked the transaction, expecting a contract or invoice, but there was nothing. Just a note saying it was for consulting services. I called Grant, our head accountant. "Grant, what's this payment to Pacific Horizon?" I asked calmly. He hesitated. "It's fine. Sloan approved it." "Don't worry," he said, sounding too smooth. But there were no receipts, no contracts. My gut told me Grant was hiding something. I talked to Isla over lunch. She was always trying to keep peace. "Marin, it's probably just a mix-up," she said. "Mom and Dad hate conflict. Let it go." Her words hurt, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Sloane's name was on that payment. She had been pushing risky deals lately. Could this be one of them? That evening I dug deeper. By midnight, I found 3 more payments of $50,000 to Pacific Horizon over 6 months. That was $200,000 unaccounted for. I checked the vendor list. The Pacific Horizon didn't exist. No address, no phone, nothing. This wasn't a mistake. It was on purpose. Sloan had approved all of them. Her handwriting was clear. My sister, the one I admired, was hiding something. I haven't confronted her yet. I needed more proof. For the next week, I worked late, going through financial records. I found 4 more payments to Pacific Horizon. That was $1 million in 6 months. Each one was hidden in different accounts, disguised as consulting fees or software upgrades. Whoever did this tried to hide it, but not from me. Numbers don't lie, and I had spent years learning them. I kept a secret log. Every transaction, every date, every discrepancy. I saved screenshots and emails to prove what I found. It felt like betrayal even thinking Sloan did this, but the evidence kept growing. I tried talking to Isla again, hoping she would help. "You're overreacting," she said sharply. "Sloan wouldn't hurt the company. You're stressing Mom and Dad out." Her words cut me deeply, but made me even more determined. I was alone in this. The next day, Grant called me. His voice was colder than before. He said something that made my stomach tighten. He wanted me to stop looking into the numbers. But I couldn't. I knew what I had found. The truth was too important. My family's company, our legacy, everything I worked for, it was at risk. And I wasn't going to let it happen. I sat at my desk late into the night, staring at the numbers on the screen. I felt alone, betrayed, and angry, but also ready. I had a choice: ignore it like everyone else, or stand up and face the truth. I chose the truth. And that one word, understood, sent me on a path that would change everything I thought I knew about my family, my company, and even myself. Marin stopped looking into Pacific Horizon. He said, "It's handled." His words made me very worried. I had a bad feeling in my stomach. Someone was trying to keep something a secret, and I didn't know who to trust anymore. Grant, who I thought I could rely on, seemed like he might be hiding things from me. And the idea that Sloan, my older sister, might be involved wasn't just a thought anymore. It was starting to feel real, and that scared me. I felt very alone. The people I had worked with, the people I loved and trusted, suddenly felt like strangers. I decided to keep my work hidden. I had a log, and I locked it in a password-protected file. No one could see it but me. I knew I had to find the truth, even if it meant standing up against the people I loved most in the world. For 3 long weeks, I worked late into the night. I stayed up until midnight every day, searching through papers, emails, and bank records, trying to uncover what was really happening. What I found made my heart feel heavy. The Pacific Horizon payments were only the small tip of a very big problem. I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing with questions, especially about Sloan, my older sister. Her signature on those payments haunted me. I knew I needed answers. I dug even deeper into Hale Tech's financial records. I wanted to find the truth no matter how much it hurt. By the second week, I discovered 3 more fake companies. Their names were Northwest Consulting, Blue Ridge Solutions, and Coastal Ventures. Each company had received money carefully spread across different bank accounts. The total amount was $7 million over 2 years. These weren't mistakes. The money had been hidden behind labels like software licensing or vendor fees to make it look normal. And Sloan's name was on every single transfer. Her approval was hidden in files that were hard to find. I checked the bank statements again and again. I found money being sent to overseas accounts, places I had never heard of. My hands shook as I pieced everything together. This wasn't an accident. Someone was moving the money on purpose. I needed someone I could trust outside of my family. I called Felicity Ward, my old mentor from UT Austin. She had helped me during my finance degree and knew a lot about money and how companies worked. I shared everything over a secure phone call, but I didn't mention Sloan's name at first. Felicity listened carefully. Marin, she said slowly, this smells like someone is moving money illegally. It's a pattern. Someone is sending money on purpose. Her words hit me hard. When I finally told her Sloane's name, her voice became very serious. You need to get proof. And you must protect yourself. This could get dangerous. I started saving everything on an encrypted drive. Bank records, approval forms, even emails where Sloane vaguely mentioned consulting projects. All of it went on the drive. I worked in secret on my personal laptop, so no one would notice. Every night, I felt more like a detective than a sister. The deeper I dug, the heavier the truth became. Sloane wasn't just careless. She was orchestrating something that could destroy Hale Tech. At home, things were very tense. Isla, my younger sister, noticed something was off, but she stayed quiet. One evening at a family dinner, I tried to see what she knew. Isla, I asked casually, have you noticed anything strange with the company's money? She frowned and glanced at Sloane. You're always so paranoid, Marin, she said, her voice tight. Maybe you're looking for problems that aren't there. Sloane smirked. Not everything's a conspiracy, she said. Some of us are focused on growing the company, not tearing it apart. Her words cut deep. I didn't argue, but they hurt. Later that night, Isla pulled me aside. Marin, stop stirring things up, she pleaded. You're stressing Mom and Dad out. Sloane says you're just jealous of her success. I stared at her in shock. Sloane had spun a story to make it sound like I was the troublemaker. I tried to explain, but Isla cut me off. Just drop it, okay? We're a family. Her loyalty to Sloane felt like a betrayal. The next day at the office, Sloane cornered me. You've been asking too many questions, she said, her voice low and sharp. If you're not on board with our plan, maybe you don't belong here. Her words weren't a question, they were a warning. I held my tongue. I couldn't let her know how much I already knew. That night, I backed up even more evidence. My encrypted drive became like a secret vault. I felt like I was betraying my family by investigating them. But the truth was that Sloane's actions were the real betrayal. Mom and Dad were oblivious, praising Sloane's latest marketing pitch at dinner. I sat quietly, thinking about the $7 million she had moved. Isla avoided my eyes, believing Sloane's version of the story. My family, the people I had once felt closest to, were slipping away. I wasn't just fighting for Hale Tech anymore. I was fighting for what was right, even if I had to stand alone. The meeting at my parents' house made me realize something painful. My family was no longer my support. I had prepared a detailed report. Every page carefully listed the shell companies, the payments, and Sloane's signatures. $7 million had been funneled through Pacific Horizon, Northwest Consulting, Blue Ridge Solutions, and Coastal Ventures. The evidence couldn't be ignored. I walked into the meeting carrying the folder of truth, hoping to save Hale Tech. Instead, I walked out feeling defeated. I began presenting the facts, passing copies of the report to Mom, Dad, Sloane, and Isla. These companies don't exist, I said. The money's gone, and Sloane approved every transfer. My voice was steady, but my heart pounded. Sloane's eyes narrowed. She smirked. This is ridiculous, Marin, she snapped. You're making this up to make yourself look important. You've always been jealous of me. Her words were sharp, twisting years of rivalry into lies. Dad leaned forward, his face hard. Marin, you're accusing your sister of something very serious. Do you have proof, or is this just speculation? I pointed to the documents, the bank statements, the wire transfers, and Sloane's signatures. It's all here, Dad. I've checked everything. He flipped through the pages but didn't look convinced. Sloane's been carrying this company, he said. She's landed our biggest clients. Why would she do this? His defense of her felt like a deeper betrayal. Mom stayed quiet, her eyes fixed on the table. I had hoped she would ask questions, but her silence was louder than any words. Isla tried to help. Marin, maybe there's an explanation, she said softly. Sloane, can you clarify this? Sloane grabbed the chance. There's nothing to clarify, she said coldly. Marin is making this a big deal to make herself look important. She doesn't understand business. Isla hesitated, then nodded slightly with Sloane. My heart sank. My sister, the one I had counted on, was turning away. I tried to push back. Sloane, these transfers have your name on them. $7 million doesn't disappear by accident. Explain it. She leaned forward, eyes cold. You're the one who needs to explain, Marin. Digging through records, spying on me. That's not loyalty. That's sabotage. Dad cut in. Marin, you're causing division. If you can't trust your sister, maybe you're not right for Hale Tech. I froze. Dad, I'm trying to protect the company, I said, my throat tight. Someone has to. He shook his head. Think about what you're doing to this family. Reconsider or you're out. Mom finally spoke, barely a whisper. Marin, we can't have this chaos. It was clear they had chosen Sloane's side. Isla looked guilty but said nothing. Her failure to stand up for me hurt more than Sloane's attacks. The room felt like it was closing in. I gathered my report, my hands shaking. If you won't listen, I can't stay, I said. Dad's voice was final. Then you're done at Hale Tech. We'll handle this without you. His words hit me like a blow. I looked at Sloane. Her smirk was now a mask of triumph. Isla reached for my arm, but I pulled away. I'm sorry, Marin, she mumbled. But it was too late. I walked out the door, slamming it behind me. Driving away, I felt like I had lost my family forever. The people I had worked for, loved, and trusted had turned their backs on me, blinded by Sloane's lies. My folder of evidence was all I had, a reminder of the truth they refused to see. I wasn't just fighting for Hale Tech anymore. I was fighting for what I believed in, even if I had to do it all alone. That night, my phone lit up with a message from my parents. I had been sitting alone in my apartment, still feeling sad and angry after the fight at their house. I was hoping for a kind word or some support, but the message made me feel even worse. Mom, Barbara Hale, had sent a text that said, "We no longer trust you. Don't come to the office tomorrow." I stared at the words on my phone. Each word felt like a tiny knife cutting into my heart. I felt like all my hope had disappeared. I typed back one small word. Understood. Then I set my phone down. My chest felt tight, heavy with grief. I couldn't believe what was happening. This wasn't just about Hale Tech anymore. It felt like my whole family had turned against me. The next day, I tried to reach out to my sister, Isla. I called her, hoping she might understand, hoping she might comfort me or say something kind. But she didn't answer. The call went to voicemail. I felt my stomach twist with worry and sadness. Then I texted my friend Sloane, asking if we could talk about everything. No reply. Even my dad, who had always been the person I could rely on, didn't answer. It felt like my whole family had closed the door on me. I felt so lonely that it was hard to breathe. I spent hours thinking about the last meeting at my parents' house. Could I have said something differently? Could I have made them believe me? I kept replaying every word in my head, but deep down, I knew the truth. They had chosen to believe Sloane's lies instead of me. The thought hurt more than anything else. Desperate for guidance, I reached out to Serena Cross, a former colleague who had left Hale Tech years ago after a big fight with Sloane. We met at a quiet coffee shop. I told her everything. I told her about the secret companies, the $7 million, and the confrontation that had changed everything. Serena listened carefully, her face serious and worried. Marin, she said, you are doing the right thing. But you are up against your own family. You need to protect yourself. Look into whistleblower protections. There are laws to help people like you. Her words made me feel a little stronger. I realized I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for what was right. That night, I spent hours reading about rules for catching cheating with money. I learned about whistleblower protections under the Taxpayer First Act. These rules could help keep me safe if I reported the secret companies. The more I read, the clearer it became that I had to act. Sloane wasn't just hurting Hale Tech, she was breaking the law. I couldn't ignore it. For days, I worked on gathering evidence. I collected bank records, wire transfers, and Sloane's signatures. I saved everything on my encrypted drive, so no one could see it. Each document felt heavy, like a reminder of betrayal. But staying quiet would betray my principles even more. I couldn't let that happen. Finally, I sent all my evidence to the IRS anonymously. I followed their instructions carefully and used a secure website to report the 4 secret companies and the $7 million sent offshore. My heart was pounding when I pressed submit. There was no going back. I wasn't just exposing Sloane. I was risking everything. My job, my family, my place in the world. But I couldn't live with myself if I stayed silent. The truth mattered more than my own sadness. The next few days were the loneliest I had ever experienced. My phone stayed quiet. No calls from Isla. No apologies from Mom or Dad. I avoided looking at Hale Tech on social media because I knew Sloane was probably telling her side of the story. I felt like a ghost, erased from the life I had worked so hard to build with my family. At night, I lay awake, thinking about whether I had done the right thing or if I had ruined everything. Serena's words echoed in my head. Hold on to your honesty, Marin. That's all you have left. I didn't tell anyone what I had done, not even Serena. The weight of it was mine alone. I had always believed that family was the most important thing in the world. But now I realize that believing too much in family could hurt you if they believed lies over the truth. Sloane's greed had split us apart, and my parents' refusal to see the truth had made it worse. Even though it hurt, I stood by my choice. Reporting Sloane wasn't just about justice. It was about proving that I could stand for something bigger than family loyalty. I was alone, but I knew I was doing the right thing. 3 days later, everything changed again. My whole family came to my apartment. I was still thinking about Mom's message when the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there they were. Dad, John Hale, looked pale and scared. He was holding a folder. Mom, Barbara Hale, was behind him, shaking. Isla, my younger sister, looked like she had been crying for days. With them was Quentin Price, our family's lawyer. Before anyone spoke, I could feel their worry in the room. Quentin spoke first in a serious voice. Marin's gone. She transferred $8 million from Hale Tech to another country with no way to bring it back. My heart sank. Part of me wasn't surprised. My older sister had taken her betrayal to a new level. Quentin explained that after I was forced out, Sloane had shown my parents fake documents saying I had made big mistakes with the money. That was why they had turned against me. Now, with Sloane gone and the company's accounts empty, the truth was clear. Dad's voice shook as he said, "Marin, we are in trouble. The IRS is auditing us. We could lose the company, our home, everything." Isla's eyes were full of tears. "You know the finances, Marin. Please help us fix this." Mom whispered, "We need you, Marin." I felt anger rise inside me, not sympathy. They had believed Sloane's lies and kicked me out, and now they wanted me to save them. Quentin gave me a file, his face serious. Sloane's last transfer was $8 million to the Cayman Islands through a company called Horizon Global. She blamed you with fake documents. She tricked everyone, but you saw through it. The proof is here. I looked at my family. Their fear was real, but so was their betrayal. Dad leaned closer. "Marin, talk to the IRS. Tell them it wasn't us. You're our only hope." Isla nodded, tears running down her face. "We're family, Marin. Please." Mom reached for my hand. "We were wrong to doubt you." But their apologies felt empty. They had chosen Sloane over me, and now they wanted me to fix everything. I stepped back, my voice cold but steady. "You trusted Sloane's lies and threw me out. I warned you, and you didn't listen. You don't get to ask for my help now." Isla sobbed, clutching Mom's arm. "Marin, we're begging you. Don't let Hale collapse." Dad's face hardened. "You'd abandon us after everything we built together?" I looked him in the eye. "You abandoned me first. Sloane's lies are on you for believing her." Mom lowered her head, silent. I turned away and called Agent Thea, the IRS agent handling the case. Over a secure line, I gave her new details, dates of Sloane's last transfers, and copies of her fake documents. Agent's voice was serious. "This is critical, Marin. It will help our investigation, even if it's tricky to find her." I wasn't focused on catching Sloane anymore. I wanted justice. My evidence would make sure the IRS took action, no matter where she was hiding. As my family left, their footsteps heavy, I felt both sadness and strength. Dad's pleas, Mom's silence, Isla's tears, they were real, but so was their betrayal. They had built Hale Tech with me only to let Sloane ruin it. I had given the IRS everything. Now it was their turn to face the consequences of their choices. My fight wasn't about saving my family. It was about making them face the truth. And most of all, it was about holding them responsible for believing lies over honesty. 6 months later, I stood at the edge of a new beginning, never looking back. Hale Tech, the company my family worked so hard to build, was completely gone. Everyone in Salt Lake City now knew about the bad things that happened, and the company's name was connected to trouble. My mom and dad, John and Barbara Hale, had to pay a huge $10 million fine to the government because of money problems that were caused by my older sister, Sloane, and her secret companies. The fine used up all their savings. Big clients stopped working with them, and Hale Tech went bankrupt. The business my family had built for many years was gone. It became a story people told about mistakes and consequences. Sloane, my older sister, had to run away from the law. The government wanted to arrest her because of the things she did, and I helped by giving them evidence. But she went to another country where the law couldn't catch her. People said she lived alone and cut off from everyone she knew in America. She lost everything, her family, her reputation, her freedom, because of her choices. I didn't feel happy about it. I just felt sad for the sister I used to look up to. She was now like a stranger, lost because of her own greed. My younger sister, Isla, tried to talk to me. She sent messages that were careful and full of sorry words. One said, Marin, I was wrong. Can we talk? You are still my sister. But it felt too late. She had stayed quiet while Sloane lied, and she didn't stop our parents from getting hurt. It hurt too much. I decided not to answer her messages. I chose to stay quiet to protect myself from more pain. It was hard to stop talking to my family, but it was the only way to keep myself safe. I moved on and started a new life far from Hale Tech's mess. I got a job at a company that helps other businesses do the right thing. I taught them how to be honest and fair. This work made me feel proud because it was the opposite of the secrets and lies that destroyed my family's business. I rented a small apartment in a new city. My coworkers cared about my skills, not my family name. Every day, I built my confidence again. I proved I could stand on my own without my family. The government investigation, which I helped with, ended with clear results. Agent Thea, the agent I worked with, said that the bank records, fake documents, and money transfers I found showed everything Sloane did. My parents' $10 million fine was just one of the punishments. They had many more legal problems to fix because of her actions. I didn't feel happy about their downfall. My job was done when I chose to tell the truth instead of staying loyal to lies. I had no regrets about that choice. The hardest part wasn't losing Hale Tech, or even my family. It was learning that loyalty to family can sometimes make you blind to bad actions. When I was growing up, I thought family always comes first. But Sloane's greed, my parents' denial, and Isla's hesitation showed me that believing that all the time can hurt you. I learned that caring about yourself and doing the right thing is more important than staying with a family that doesn't see your value. Standing up for what is right sometimes means walking away, even if it breaks your heart. This journey taught me a lesson I will never forget. Blind loyalty to family can hurt you, but standing for the truth makes your life stronger. To anyone listening, I want to say this. Trust your feelings when something feels wrong, even if it's your family. Speak up. Make people responsible for their actions. Don't let love excuse bad choices. My family's collapse wasn't just their mistake. It was a chance for me to decide what really matters. I chose to be honest instead of just loyal. And that choice gave me a life I am proud of. You can make the same choice too.